The English legal system. The role of the jury in criminal trials. The right to trial by jury can be traced back to the Magna Carta, the Great Charter of Liberties, 1215. In criminal cases, the jury decide if the defendant is guilty or not guilty in the Crown Court. The Crown Court hears all indictable, serious, offences and some triable either way, mid-range, offences, if the magistrates have declined jurisdiction or where the defendant has elected a Crown Court trial. Thus, the jury deal with the higher-level criminal offences. In exceptional cases, where there is a real and present danger of jury nobbling, the right to trial by jury can now be denied under the Criminal Justice Act 2003. The role of the jury in criminal trials starts with the swearing in. The jurors will be asked to swear they will give a true verdict according to the evidence. The jury will then hear the opening speeches from the barristers. They will listen to the witnesses giving their testimonial evidence and assess how they react under cross-examination. The jury decide which witnesses they believe and which version of events they find the most credible. They will hear the closing speeches and the judges summing up. Judges should remain neutral in their summing up, giving equal weight to both the prosecution and defense. Any bias of the judge could sway the jury. In the Birmingham 6 trial, Mr. Justice Bridge gave numerous indications the police evidence was to be preferred over that of the defense. The jury convicted them and they were sentenced to life imprisonment. They were released 16 years later when the Court of Appeal quashed their convictions. The jury should be free from pressure from the judge in their decision-making as established in Bushell's case 1670 and affirmed in R. v. McKenna and Busby 1960. The judge will direct them on points of law and the required standard of proof. That is, that they must not convict, unless the prosecution have satisfied them that they are sure of guilt. Even though the judge tells them the law to be applied, jurors are not bound to follow it and there will be no repercussions if they don't apply the law. Indeed, it is perhaps part of the role of the jury to bring their own sense of justice and not apply a law if they feel it would be unjust to do so. This is known as jury equity and is of fundamental importance in the juror's role of protector of liberty and acting as a shield against an unjust or oppressive state. For example, the jury acquitted Clive Ponting of offences under the Official Secrets Act when he released information about the sinking of the ship, the Belgrano, during the Falklands War. After hearing the evidence, speeches and summing up, the jury are taken to the deliberation room. The jury elect a foreperson to chair discussions. Anything discussed in the deliberation room is protected by law. Section 20D of the Juries Act 1974 makes it a criminal offence to discuss or solicit information regarding anything that goes on in the deliberation room. The deliberation room is guarded by a court officer. No one is allowed to enter or leave without permission. The jury must stop discussing the case when food and drink are brought in. The jury are initially told to reach a unanimous verdict. After a reasonable time, a minimum of 2 hours, the judge will call them back and state they will accept a majority verdict. Section 17 of the Juries Act 1974 provides that a majority verdict requires 10 jurors to agree in a case where there are not less than 11 jurors. If there are only 10 jurors, then 9 must agree. A jury cannot fall below 10 jurors. Once the verdict has been reached, the foreperson will deliver the verdict on each count in open court. Once the verdict has been delivered, the jury's role for the trial is complete. If the jury cannot get 10 members to agree on a verdict, this is known as a hung jury. The defendant will be retried with a new jury. If the second trial also results in a hung jury, the defendant will not be tried for a third time. If the jury found the defendant guilty, it then falls to the judge to pass sentence. If they found the defendant not guilty, the defendant is free and cannot be tried for the same crime unless there exists exceptional circumstances. The double jeopardy rule refers to where a person cannot be tried for the same crime once they have been found not guilty by a jury. This is subject to 2 exceptions. 1. Where there is evidence of jury nobbling. 2. Under the Criminal Justice Act 2003, where there is new and compelling evidence in serious crimes and approval by the DPP has been granted. In summary, juries are used in the more serious criminal cases. They sit through the trial and hear the case for the prosecution and defense. They reach a verdict on whether they are sure of the defendant's guilt. This video is part of a series of videos on law from www.e-lawresources.co.uk. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel www.youtube.com/@e-lawresources. It's free to do so and will help us to keep providing these videos. Check out our website, which provides lecture outlines and case summaries. See also www.e-lawrevision.org.uk for revision games and quizzes. Thanks for watching.